All right, let's dive into some of Dave Ramsey's ideas on passive income.
Sounds good.
We're going to figure out how to actually make some of that money from your couch magic happen,
Yeah, I think
Outright.
it's a popular concept now.
It is.
Everyone wants to figure out how to make money without working, right?
That's right.
But a lot of people, I think, get the wrong idea about passive income. They think it's all luck, like you said, or they just stumble into it. But Ramsey's view is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
He really emphasizes the upfront work,
Oh, okay.
He compares it to planting a seed.
I see.
You put in the work, you got to nurture it, tend to it, and then eventually you get to enjoy the results, the fruits of your labor.
So it's not really about being passive.
Right.
It's about being smart with your effort.
Exactly.
Okay, so where do you even begin with all this?
Well, Ramsey outlines 5 main strategies, and the first one might throw some people off, especially knowing how much he talks about staying out of debt.
Okay.
He's a big fan of real estate.
Real estate, really? I mean, isn't that a huge investment? It doesn't seem very low effort.
That's true, and he's very clear about that.
Okay.
He says real estate is only a path to passive income if you're already financially stable.
Makes sense.
No going into debt to buy rental properties.
Right.
You got to be debt-free, and you got to have some savings already.
Yeah.
That's step 1.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, if someone's in that position, already financially solid, what does he actually recommend they do to get started?
Yeah, what are his tips?
He's got some pretty practical tips, actually.
Okay.
The first thing he says is to focus on properties that are close to home.
Close to home?
Yeah, that way you can manage them easier, fix problems quickly.
Yeah.
All that.
Makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense, especially if you're new to this whole landlord thing.
Exactly, yeah.
And then his second tip is to find a good real estate agent.
Fair? Yeah.
Someone who knows their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They can help you find good properties, navigate the buying process, even find reliable tenants.
Right.
They basically guide you through the whole thing.
So it's about having the right support system.
Exactly.
Now that makes sense.
Yes.
So building on that idea of utilizing what you already have, Ramsey also suggests something else.
Right.
Taking advantage of this whole trend of renting out unused space.
This is great if real estate feels too big.
Yeah.
Think about it. You've got a basement or a garage just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Why not turn it into storage space and make some cash?
Yeah, I have seen those platforms like Neighbor or iStore It.
Right.
But do people really use those? Like, is there enough demand for that kind of storage?
More than you'd think, honestly.
Oh, really?
Storage units are expensive.
That's true.
And people need places to put their stuff. Seasonal items, extra belongings, even like
Projects.
RVs or boats.
Okay, I get it.
So it's a win-win for everyone involved.
Okay, now that is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that caught my eye was his suggestion about renting out your own personal belongings.
Ah, yes.
Like things that are just collecting dust.
He wants you to really look around your house, see what you've got, a
Right.
kayak you only use once a year,
Oh, yeah.
or a bike that's been sitting in the garage,
Mm,
maybe some tools you only need for specific projects.
right.
All of those things could be making you money.
That's true.
Yeah.
He mentioned platforms like Spinlister and Fat Llama for that.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, you can always try those community social media groups, too.
Yes, great for local rentals.
Yeah,
It's all about finding the right people who need what you've got.
that's right.
And speaking of finding the right thing, that leads us to something that can be a little intimidating, but it's really important for building long-term financial security.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, investing.
Yeah, investing can feel really complicated. How does Ramsey make that approachable for someone who's not, a financial expert?
He breaks it down into a really manageable approach.
Okay.
First, he says, focus on building a strong foundation for the future.
Okay.
And that starts with retirement savings.
Okay.
Specifically, contributing 15% of your income to growth stock mutual funds.
Right.
And doing that within a retirement account, like a 401k or a Roth IRA.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Prioritize long-term security
Fair.
before you start branching out into other things.
Okay, so once those retirement contributions are maxed out,
Mhm.
where does he say to go from there?
That's when you can start looking at things like low turnover mutual funds and index funds.
Okay.
But this time, within a taxable brokerage account.
Okay,
This is where that idea of working smarter, not harder, really comes in.
I see.
You're picking investments that are designed to grow over time, and they generally have fewer tax implications compared to, say, actively trading individual stocks.
So your money is working for you, even while you sleep, basically.
That's the idea.
It's a long game, but it could really pay off, right?
Right. It takes patience. It can be very rewarding.
And this ties in perfectly with his final passive income suggestion, which is high-yield savings accounts.
Exactly.
This one feels a bit more familiar, but how does it fit into passive income? Isn't it just saving money?
It's about saving strategically.
Okay.
Ramsey points out that online banks often have much better interest rates than traditional banks.
Oh, right, because of their lower overhead costs.
Exactly.
Imagine this. You have $25,000 in an account that earns 4% interest each year.
Okay.
That's an extra $1,000 annually.
Just for keeping your money there.
Wow. That's a good illustration of how a simple choice can actually generate passive income.
Right.
It's amazing how many options there are.
There are a lot.
I guess the key is figuring out which of these strategies actually aligns with your goals and your risk tolerance, right? Like, are you looking for long-term growth or do you need something more immediate?
Those are important questions to ask yourself.
Yeah, it's not about finding a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
It's about finding what works for you.
Exactly.
We've heard some really cool passive income ideas based on Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking now, how do we actually put these into practice? How do we even know if any of this is right for us or which one to choose?
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people hit a wall. They get excited about the idea of passive income.
Right.
But then they see all these options and it just feels...
overwhelming.
Yeah, overwhelming. Too much.
Yeah.
Ramsey always talks about the importance of knowing your why.
Your why, okay.
Yeah, like what are you actually trying to achieve with passive income?
Right.
Is it financial security, early retirement, maybe funding a dream you have?
So having that clear vision.
Exactly.
So you can match your goals to a strategy.
Right. It's about connecting those dots.
Okay, that makes sense.
And you also got to think about your risk tolerance.
Oh, right, of course.
Real estate investing, those are riskier than, say, just sticking your money in a high-yield savings account.
Yeah.
It's not about right or wrong. It's about what you're comfortable with.
Right, right.
How much risk can you handle?
And it doesn't have to be one or the other, right? Like you can combine multiple strategies.
That's called diversification.
Okay.
It's super important for investing, but it's also smart for passive income in general.
I see.
You spread out your risk and you create a more stable income stream.
That's a good point.
Over time, you know?
Something I always appreciate about Ramsey is his emphasis on mindset.
Yeah, he's big on that.
It's not just about sitting back and waiting for the money to roll in. There's still this hustle element, right?
He says passive income doesn't mean being passive as a person.
I like that.
It's about being proactive up front, doing your research, setting up these income streams.
Yeah.
Remember that seed analogy?
Right.
You got to nurture it.
And it's not just about the money either, is it?
No, not at all.
Like Ramsey talks about the freedom and flexibility that passive income can bring.
He does.
Imagine having more time for family or being able to chase your passions.
Or even just
having less financial stress.
That's huge.
Huge, right?
But that freedom is empowering. It lets you make choices based on what you care about, not based on what your bank account says.
I think people might be surprised to learn that they already have what they need to build passive income. They just haven't thought of it that way.
I think you're right.
You know?
It's about perspective.
Like imagine someone who's super organized and loves decluttering.
Okay.
They could totally offer home organization services.
Yeah.
Or even teach people how to simplify their lives, like through online courses or something.
That's a great example.
Right. It's about using your strengths and getting creative. Maybe you're a great baker and you start selling your stuff online. Or maybe you're a photographer and you start doing events.
There are so many possibilities.
It's really inspiring.
It is. Ramsey really empowers people.
He does.
He shows them that they have control. They can make this happen.
That's a good point.
I do think it's important to address the legal and tax stuff.
Yeah, that can be kind of intimidating, but it's important to know.
It's crucial.
We should probably talk about that a little bit.
Definitely. Always wise to get professional advice.
Of course.
But just as a general overview, it's important to remember that income from passive sources is still taxable income.
Right.
You got to report it on your tax returns.
That's where a good accountant comes in handy.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can help you navigate all that.
The complexities of the tax laws.
Yeah, and make sure you're taking advantage of any deductions or anything like that.
Exactly.
And depending on the type of passive income, you might need specific licenses or permits, right? Like if you're renting out a property, you might need to register with your local government, comply with landlord-tenant laws, all that.
It's all about doing your research.
Yeah.
Making sure you're on the right side of the law.
Let's circle back to that mindset thing for a second.
Sure.
Building passive income, it takes time.
It does.
It's not always easy.
There will be bumps along the road.
Right. There will be setbacks. It's important
to be realistic.
Yeah.
And to be adaptable.
Embrace the learning process. Make adjustments. And don't give up.
Don't give up just because it gets tough.
And, you don't have to do this alone.
No, definitely not.
Surround yourself with supportive people.
Friends, family, online groups, even.
Share experiences, get advice, celebrate successes.
It makes it more fun that way.
It does. It really does.
Having that support network can make a big difference. It reminds you that you're not in this by yourself.
We've covered a lot of ground. But before we move on, I want to make sure our listeners have some practical next steps.
Okay, good idea.
Where do you think they should start?
Start by looking inward.
Okay.
Think about your skills, your interests, your resources.
Oh, yeah.
What are you good at? What do you enjoy? What assets do you have that you could use?
I like that.
Once you have a better idea of your strengths, you can start brainstorming ideas.
Right.
Don't be afraid to think outside the box.
Yeah, get creative.
And research.
Always a good idea.
There's so much information out there about passive income.
Books, podcasts, websites.
All of that.
Learn from people who have already done it.
Get inspired by their stories.
And remember, you don't have to jump in all at once.
You can start small.
Yeah, dip your toes in.
Maybe try renting out a spare room on Airbnb.
Or list some things on a peer-to-peer rental platform.
Yeah, just take action, gain experience, keep learning.
Building passive income is a journey.
It is.
It's not a destination.
Not a quick fix.
Embrace the process. Learn from mistakes.
Celebrate the wins.
Exactly.
Remember, even small steps can lead to big results.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
But when we come back for the final part of this deep dive, we'll talk about even more resources and tools that can help you on your passive income journey.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive on passive income. And I'm excited to dig into some more resources that can really help you along the way.
Yeah, I know we've covered a lot already.
We have, but there's always more to learn, right? And it can be tricky.
It can be.
To find the good stuff, the really valuable information.
Absolutely.
So are there any specific websites or platforms or anything like that you find particularly useful?
One that comes to mind is choosefi.com.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great website, all about financial independence.
I love that website.
They've got tons of information on passive income, investing tips, all sorts of stuff.
And they have a really good podcast, too.
Oh, yeah, the podcast is fantastic.
With interviews from all kinds of experts.
It's a great way to learn about different perspectives.
I agree.
Another one worth checking out is the Mr. Money Mustache blog.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
He's a financial expert who retired early. And now he just writes about all this stuff. Yeah. Frugal living, investing, passive income, all of it.
Sounds like a good read.
He's a really engaging writer, really makes you think.
I'll have to check it out.
Speaking of practical steps, there's one thing that's really important for anyone who's serious about building passive income.
What's that?
Budgeting.
Budgeting, of course.
It might seem basic.
Yeah.
But a solid budget is the foundation for any financial goal, especially something like passive income.
Absolutely.
It helps you keep track of where your money's going, identify where you can cut back, free up some cash to invest.
Right, you gotta know where you stand.
Exactly.
Ramsey, of course, is a big fan of budgeting.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
He's got that envelope system.
Yeah.
Where you actually
put
cash into envelopes for different categories.
That's a classic.
It is.
It's so simple, but it works.
And then there are all those great budgeting apps now, too.
Oh, yeah. So many options.
Like Mint, YAMBI.
Personal Capital.
They can do so much for you automatically.
Makes it so much easier to stay on top of everything.
It really does.
Something I think holds a lot of people back from achieving their financial goals is fear.
Fear?
Fear of failing, fear of making the wrong choice.
How do you get over that?
It's natural to feel fear, especially when it comes to money. But we got to remember that fear is often based on our perceptions, not reality.
That's a good point.
One of the best things you can do is educate yourself.
Right. The more you learn,
the more confident you'll feel.
Yeah, knowledge is power.
It is.
And remember, you don't have to go all in right away.
You can start small.
Yeah, test the waters.
Maybe just rent out a spare room or try listing a few things on a rental platform.
Dip your toes in, see how it feels.
Build that momentum as you go.
Exactly.
And don't be afraid to ask for help. Talk to friends, family, online communities, find people who have experience.
Having that support system is so important.
It is. You're not alone in this.
It's crucial to remember that this isn't a get-rich-quick thing.
No, it's not.
Passive income takes time, effort, and patience.
It does.
But the rewards can be huge.
Life-changing even.
It's about creating a more secure financial future.
Yeah.
One that gives you the freedom to
pursue your passions, spend more time with loved ones, live life on your own terms.
That's what it's all about.
Freedom and choice.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
Imagine the possibilities. If you could bring in an extra $1,000, $5,000, even more each year.
Wow.
Passively. Just imagine what that could do for you.
That's an exciting thought.
Maybe it's traveling more, starting a business, or just having that peace of mind.
Yeah, having that financial cushion.
The possibilities are truly endless.
They are.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration of passive income.
It's been great.
We hope you found it informative and helpful.
I hope so.
Remember, the path to financial freedom starts with a single step. So take action, stay curious, and keep learning.
And most importantly, design a life you love.
Well said. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.